just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's... offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so...
Ricky Gervais, man, he was just fed up with all the political drama in Hollywood. So he stood up in front of these huge celebrities, like right in their faces, and just called them out. It was wild. This British-American comedian and actor has been making waves for a while now, talking about how he feels about Hollywood's whole woke thing. But let me tell you, Ricky doesn't hold back. He's got stronger feelings about Hollywood celebrities and influencers getting all political than you can imagine. Just watch this clip. He absolutely rips them to shreds.
Hi guys, Ricky G here. Wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime, and it makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that.
In less than a minute, Ricky actually pretends to be a Hollywood celebrity just to make fun of how they always share their political opinions with everyone. It's a funny clip, no big deal, right? But Ricky's actually saying a lot. He's basically calling these celebrities out for being clueless and trying to manipulate people. And if you still think Ricky cares what people think, well, he once even mentioned Taylor Swift as one of these Hollywood celebrities he's talking about.
Because we are getting more stupid as a species, no doubt about that. You can now do a university degree course in Taylor Swift. How fucking low academically can you go?
We've already seen him at the Golden Globes roasting these Hollywood celebrities for being out of touch and not understanding the real world, let alone politics. He's been doing this for years, calling them out. Ricky's basically saying, stick to entertaining us, okay? As a comedian, he's found really clever ways to criticize this woke culture. He tells these hilarious jokes that show just how silly their ideas are.
You can get sued in this country for saying someone's gay if they're not, you know, which is a homophobic law, because you can't be sued the other way around. You can't be sued for saying someone's not gay if they are, which seems unfair, doesn't it?
So, yeah, Ricky's got a real knack for throwing shade at the woke crowd, but let me tell you, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for him. He gets his fair share of heat, especially when he dips his toes into controversial waters. Remember that time he made a comment about Caitlyn Jenner? Yeah, that didn't go over too well. The woke folks weren't too happy about it, but Ricky, he just shrugged it off. One of the big issues was this whole dead naming thing. Basically, it means calling someone by their birth name after they've transitioned. Ricky's got some strong opinions on that, and let me tell you, he doesn't hold back. Let's see what he has to say.
She was interviewed about a week later at some press conference for a show she was launching, now cancelled. And the press were around and one of them said, what do you think of the Ricky Gervais joke? And she went, maybe I should host the Golden Globes. I just sent back, let her host, just don't let her drive.
Ricky here got this way of turning a situation upside down with a joke. You know how sometimes woke people get all up in arms about erasing history or someone's identity? Well, Ricky takes that idea and flips it on its head. Think about Bruce Jenner, right? That name meant something for 58 years. Then came Caitlyn Jenner and everything changed. But even with that change, Bruce Jenner's existence wasn't just magically erased. It's still there, part of the story. Ricky's got this knack for sarcasm, and he uses it like a spotlight to show us the cracks in these woke arguments. Here, he's calling out these people for pretending to be all virtuous, while really they're just trying to score points. It's like he's saying, hey, let's not forget the whole picture here.
I'm not a fascist. It's an odd thing to just declare, isn't it, that you're not a fascist? We assume, don't we? You wouldn't go up to someone on the street and do that, would you? And go say, oh, by the way, I'm not a fascist. You know, it's like they protest too much.
According to Ricky, woke people are always acting like they're fighting for minorities, and they use this as an excuse for virtue signaling. So if you think about it, it's almost like minorities are merely a tool used by the woke people to make their opinions seem more superior than they really are. But it gets even worse, because if anyone else goes against these opinions, they are shut down by woke people and called names. They take offense and bash you for it. Ricky hates nothing more than this.
Made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world.
And speaking of how far this woke stuff can go, Ricky's got a pretty hilarious story that really drives the point home. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this.
I once tweeted, I've put on £7 and a picture of me with a big belly. Do your worst. Insult me, right? People said, you shouldn't fat shame. What, me? I show me. Right, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous what people get upset about.
Ricky thinks these woke people are totally off their rocker when it comes to getting upset about stuff. It's like they're on a mission to find anything that could possibly offend them, no matter how small. He's completely baffled by it, but there's more to his story.
Who will go online and leave a comment. You might as well go and read Toilet Walls to get upset about them. I have never been upset by anyone on Twitter. I'm too happy.
Now let's think about this for a second. Ricky says he doesn't let Twitter comments get to him. So does that mean these woke people who are always getting offended are just unhappy and need to find something to be mad about? This is one of the funniest things Ricky's ever said about these woke folks. It's a real zinger.
There are real things in the world. I once tweeted, people are more offended by jokes about war, famine, fucking murder than actual warfare. They're not doing anything towards those. They shouldn't joke about it. What are you doing towards the real thing?
And to take it a step further, Ricky's got a question for these woke people, and it's a real doozy. He's basically saying, if you care so much about fixing society, why don't you do something about it? Like donate to help people who are really suffering. Just getting angry about what people say isn't enough. He also has a thing to say about these woke publications telling comedians how they should do their jobs. It's like they're trying to control everything.
Oxbridge comedians writing for the posh papers, telling you the rules of comedy. They're laying it down, laying down the law, right? And it's all stuff like, comedy should punch up. You should never punch down. You should never punch down.
Now, considering all this, let's talk about how the woke movement has started affecting comedy. Comedians have always been pretty free to say whatever they want, right? But then this whole woke thing happened and suddenly everyone had an opinion on what jokes were okay and what weren't. It's like they were trying to leash the comedians. Anyway, Ricky definitely didn't like that. Watch how he punches back to all the woke policy comedy.
Sometimes you've got to punch down. Like, if you're beating up a disabled toddler. You know what I mean? If you punch up, you'll miss the little cunt and he'll win, you know?
Yeah, I know it's all funny and stuff, but Ricky's not done yet, he's just getting started.
I like that joke because it highlights the difference between metaphorical punching down in jokes and actual punching down. But people nowadays want you to believe that words are actual violence, right? Now, you laughed at a joke about beating up a disabled toddler. No one got hurt. If I'd have actually dragged out a disabled toddler and started beating him up, you wouldn't laugh, right?
He launched a hilarious attack on the so-called woke crowd, basically saying, look, doing a bad thing and talking about a bad thing aren't the same thing. It's a classic Ricky move. Remember in a previous clip where he said, just because you feel offended doesn't mean you're right? Well, he's at it again. These woke folks, they think jokes about sensitive topics are like actual violence. It's crazy. But Ricky's not the only one who thinks the woke crowd is going too far. Rob Schneider, another Hollywood star, is totally freaked out about this new woke thing happening in schools.
Unbelievably, on university campuses now they have free speech zones, which sounds cool and nice, but not that long ago the entire university was a free speech zone.
Okay, so here's the thing. We've been seeing this worrying trend where people are trying to silence others who disagree with them. It's like they're trying to control what we can say and think, and guess what? This is even happening in schools. Imagine kids being taught to keep their mouths shut if they have different opinions. It's really scary. Ricky is always on their case about this. He calls them out every chance he gets. But don't just take my word for it. Watch Steve Carell's reaction. It's a total eye-opener.
He's amazing as the bumbling office manager. Where does he get his ideas from? Let's pay.
It's tough to imagine Steve was just kidding when he gave that kind of look. It was like a warning, you know? Basically, Ricky can't stand it when people who are all about their causes push their stuff on everyone else. He thinks it's way too bossy.
How arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything that you don't agree with or like? I want people to stop saying that joke's offensive.
Yeah.
I want them to start saying I found it offensive, because you've got to own the emotion, because that's all it is.
But Ricky's frustration doesn't stop there. He doesn't mind that woke people sometimes get upset. It's like, okay, we all get a little riled up now and then. But the problem is, whenever they get offended about something, they try to blow it way out of proportion. They make it a big, huge deal for everyone, instead of just keeping it personal. It's like, chill out. And let me tell you, Ricky had some more choice words for the woke crowd after that.
You don't have to pave the jungle.
Yeah.
You can just grow a pair and have a laugh about it. Yeah, but you shouldn't hurt people's feelings. Well, you can if their feelings are wrong.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like the facts,
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
change the facts, change the feelings,
Yeah.
you know.
So, it all comes down to the classic debate, facts versus feelings. You know, it's been going on ever since this whole woke thing started. When it comes to comedy, Ricky thinks we shouldn't take everything so seriously. He's like, hey, let's just lighten up a bit. If you're offended, dial it down a notch and have a laugh, even if it's at your own expense. He couldn't have been any clearer than at the beginning of his monologue at the 2020 Golden Globes.
So let's go out with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all gonna die soon, and there's no sequel.
So, is Ricky Gervais spot on with his stance, or do you think he's being a bit too insensitive? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.